After the governor of Imo State got information that a village in Osu local government area had been turned into a ghost town where people abandoned their properties to scamper for safety, he decided to set up a joint security team to reclaim the captured village. However, each time these joint security teams meet up to discuss their strategies on how to go about the raid on the kidnappers' den, they end up discovering on the day of the raid that their strategy had been revealed to the kidnappers and that they had run away to avoid arrest. Seeing this, the team decided to change their strategy on how they prepared for the raid. The security team knew they were not going against their regular kidnappers, but what they didn't expect to discover at the crime scene was a pot of egusi soup filled with human meat and other roasted human body parts, some of which were partly consumed, scattered all over the kidnappers' den. The story began in the once thriving communities of Osu local government area in Imo State and neighboring Uli in Anambra State, Nigeria. These villages, surrounded by lush vegetation and deep valleys, had been transformed into an abandoned ghost town filled with fear. For months, residents had been living under the shadow of what they believed were just violent bandits and kidnappers. Doors remained shut, businesses abandoned, and traditional rulers had gone into hiding. Even the wealthy sons and daughters of these communities had given up on celebrating Christmas at home. But the truth was far worse than anyone could ever imagine. It all came to light on a Monday when a joint security team comprising the Army, Police, and the Department of State Services (DSS) launched an offensive attack against what they believed was simply a gang of kidnappers. Their target was the camps hidden in the Nkwera Uda community in the Osu local government area of Imo State. The operation itself was challenging because the criminals had barricaded roads with fallen palm trees and also dug trenches to prevent access to the area. Military vehicles were held up for over 30 minutes and security operatives used shovels to fill the holes and also saws to cut and clear the fallen trees. A source who witnessed the 6-hour operation noted that as soon as the security convoy passed, the bandits emerged from hiding to reopen the trenches while terrified villagers watched helplessly. What the security forces found when they finally breached the camp was beyond comprehension. Inside an 8-room flat with crumbling roofs was evidence not just of kidnapping, but also of something out of a horror movie. Pits filled with roasted human bodies, decapitated heads, and charred human remains were found in the camp. The security team discovered a pot of egusi soup containing human meat. They also found a basket around the camp containing 4 human skulls, roasted alongside other parts of the body. Some body parts appeared to have been cooked and eaten, while others were used in preparing soup. The security team also discovered that these were not just random victims. Among the decomposing remains in a very deep pit was Eze Paul Ogu, a traditional ruler of a village in Okigwe, and Victor Chukwuemeka, a youth leader from the same community. Both had been kidnapped from their homes. Eze Paul had been murdered, while another kidnapped traditional ruler, His Royal Highness Eze Ndukwe of Amagu Ihube, was miraculously rescued during the raid. The visibly shaken Eze Paul later revealed that his fellow ruler and the youth leader had been killed just 2 hours before the security forces arrived. The reason behind the killing was reportedly related to the traditional ruler's support for Governor Hope Uzodimma. But this wasn't just about politics. The gang had established a reign of terror that controlled every aspect of community life. Before any family could hold a marriage, funeral, or other ceremonies in the village, they had to first of all settle the gang with whatever amount of money that was demanded. The residents were forced to contribute food for the criminals' upkeep as they paraded themselves as lords, terrorizing and threatening those unable to meet their demands. The criminals had even set up checkpoints near the house of a controversial pastor known in the area, where they collected money from motorists and levies from villagers conducting traditional marriages or building houses. No one dared to challenge them. What made their operations even more terrifying was their preparation. They had laid landmines at strategic points on the roads and at the entrance to their camp. The topography of the area, which consisted of deep valleys and thick bushes, also provided easy routes for them to escape. The raid, which took place between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., resulted in a fierce gun battle. Several gang members were neutralized, while others escaped. The team recovered 4 vehicles, including a Toyota Hilux, a Tundra, and a school bus belonging to a community secondary school in the village. They also found bags of gari, rice, gallons of cooking oil, a generator, a plasma TV, bulletproof jackets, guns, and ammunition. The operation continued days later when security forces returned after an intelligence report suggested that the fleeing criminals were planning to regroup. During this follow-up mission, they began the grim task of exhuming the decomposing remains of Eze Paul Ubu, the youth leader, and other victims from the pit. A girl who was rescued by the security forces shared her harrowing experience at the hands of the kidnappers.
So on Sunday, I'm supposed to go home. So they said that there's lockdown. So even give me warning, so my transport, so I will go. So they said that on Sunday there's lockdown. So I now said, okay, Tuesday I should go home before they cut me inside room. So one their commander tried to rape me this morning before he heard the gunshot and he ran.